The Karate Kid is a coming-of-age drama about a teenager, Daniel LaRusso, who moves to a new town and struggles to fit in after becoming the target of local bullies skilled in karate.
No mercy.
With the help of a new, wise older friend, Mr. Miyagi, an apartment maintenance man who just happens to know karate, Daniel learns not only how to defend himself, but also important life lessons about discipline, confidence, and inner balance. In today's deep dive, you will learn about the fight scene between Daniel and Johnny that caused a scare on set. What were the mementos that Ralph Macchio and William Zabka kept and still have today from starring in the film?
Ta-da!
Who fought hard for their part in the film and received an Academy Award nomination in doing so. Did you know that a big movie star was asked to direct the film originally, but said no, because his son couldn't play Daniel? Stay tuned to find out the answers and more interesting stories from the classic film. Let's go!
No, I'm not going anywhere. No.
During a scene after the Halloween dance, Daniel accidentally got hit in the face by Johnny's foot. During a recent Comic-Con appearance, the two actors sat together to discuss it. Zabka said, "I can explain. In the scene, I am supposed to be hitting Ralph with a front roundhouse kick. I had it pretty dialed in, so I was keeping a good amount of distance from his face in the rehearsals. They decided to move the camera at some point, so the blocking was a little different, but I didn't adjust my planted foot. I didn't realize until too late, and coming through the kick, it didn't stop until it connected." Macchio then added that his injuries were pretty minor and could have been a lot worse, stating, "We can laugh about it now, but the day of it was a pretty serious deal. Luckily, it landed on my jaw, and not my nose or the teeth, because I could have broken something. That would have probably shut down production. In this case, it only meant I had to put some makeup on and eat all of my food through a straw for a bit."
That sucks.
The iconic yellow car that Daniel works on during the wax-on wax-off training scene and later receives as a birthday gift from Mr. Miyagi wasn't just a movie prop. It was actually gifted to Ralph by Columbia Pictures after he expressed interest in buying it, and he still owns it today. He also has the All-Valley Karate Tournament trophy, which sits in his son's room. Lastly, he kept the headband and embroidered silk bonsai tree design gi. William Zabka, however, kept his red leather motorcycle jacket and his Cobra Kai gi.
No way. Yeah.
Fun fact, Ralph Macchio's real-life son is also named Daniel, after his movie character. He also has a daughter named Julia. In the early 1980s, Pat Morita was primarily known for his comedic role as Arnold, the restaurant owner on Happy Days. According to the 2013 book, The Films of John G. Avildsen, the director wanted Pat Morita from the start for the role of Miyagi. However, producer Jerry Weintraub initially worried that audiences wouldn't take him seriously because of his comedy background. That changed after Morita changed his appearance, growing a beard and adopting a Japanese accent for his screen test, ultimately convincing Weintraub to give him the role.
This is what I want.
At the 57th Annual Academy Awards in 1985, Pat Morita was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in The Karate Kid but ultimately lost out to an actual Southeast Asian, Cambodian doctor and non-professional performer, Hang S. Inger, seen in Roland Joffe's political drama, The Killing Fields.
So sad, so sad.
So, that big-time Hollywood actor that turned down the director position was Clint Eastwood. According to his ex, Sandra Locke, who was his partner for over a decade, quoted in her book, Clint had agreed to direct Karate Kid for Columbia only if Kyle played the lead, but they had refused. Clint, forevermore, banned Coca-Cola from his site. You may have asked, what does Coke have to do with it? But they were a big part of the movie and the studio. Columbia Pictures was acquired by the Coca-Cola Company in 1982 and remained under its ownership until the late 1980s, when it was purchased by Sony and became a subsidiary. The studio declined to cast Clint Eastwood's son in the lead role of The Karate Kid, a decision that, having been approved at the highest corporate levels, reportedly sparked lasting resentment. As a result, it's believed that Eastwood distanced himself from anything associated with Coca-Cola, both personally and professionally. Whether that self-imposed boycott has ever been lifted remains unclear, leaving a lingering question about just how long the fallout lasted after the beverage giant crossed one of Hollywood's most iconic figures.
No hard feelings.
Helen Hunt and Demi Moore were both considered for the role of Allie, but Elizabeth Shue ultimately won the part, partly due to a widely seen Burger King commercial she had appeared in during the early 1980s.
Say, the Whopper beat the Big Mac. Just say that and get your second Whopper free.
The film also served as the debut for both William Zabka and Elizabeth Shue.
Pretty cool, huh?
Before Ralph Macchio was cast as Daniel LaRusso, several rising stars were in contention for the role, including Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr., Tom Cruise, and Nicolas Cage. It's unclear how seriously each was considered, but all would have brought a unique take to the character. At the time, Sheen was just beginning his career and soon appeared in Red Dawn. Downey Jr. was also breaking into Hollywood, later landing roles in Weird Science and joining Saturday Night Live. Cruise had recently starred alongside Macchio in The Outsiders and had already gained attention for Risky Business. Meanwhile, Cage had early roles in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Valley Girl. The list of contenders didn't stop there. Sean Penn, Emilio Estevez, Anthony Edwards, C. Thomas Howell, and Eric Stoltz were also considered. Penn was gaining momentum after his breakout role as Jeff Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Estevez, another The Outsiders co-star, had yet to land his signature roles in The Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire. Edwards had appeared in Fast Times at Ridgemont High and was building his resume. Stoltz, also connected to Fast Times, rounded out the group. While several of these actors could have delivered compelling interpretations of Daniel, the film ultimately made the right choice with Macchio in the role.
Have it your way.
According to Martin Kove in the DVD documentary, director John G. Avildsen initially contacted him about auditioning for the role of Kreese, but then asked him to wait. Eager to land the part, Kove passed on other opportunities, but as the delay stretched on for weeks, his frustration grew. When he was finally called in to audition, Kove channeled that irritation, directing some of it at Avildsen, into a fierce, high-energy performance that ultimately won him the role. William Zabka shared in an interview that during rehearsals, Martin Kove delivered the sweep-the-leg line calmly. However, when the cameras rolled, he delivered it with a chilling intensity that caught everyone off guard, including Zabka, whose stunned reaction on screen was completely genuine.
Sweep the leg.
Although You're the Best, sung by Joe Esposito, is forever associated with the All-Valley Karate Tournament montage in The Karate Kid, the track, written by Bill Conti and Allee Willis, was originally intended for Rocky III. It was ultimately replaced by Eye of the Tiger by Survivor. Joe Esposito also revealed that the song was considered for Flashdance, but was passed over in favor of Maniac by Michael Sembello. After the success of The Karate Kid, Elizabeth Shue, who played Allie, was firmly on Hollywood's A-list, with offers pouring in, all while juggling her rapidly rising career alongside her Ivy League education at Harvard. Her education at Harvard was a family affair considering her brother Andrew, father and grandfather attended, and put pressure on her to finish her education. Shue made a bold move and dropped out with just 5 credits remaining to complete her degree in government studies. She then shot to fame with roles in big hit movies such as Cocktail with Tom Cruise, Back to the Future Part 2 with Michael J. Fox, and Adventures in Babysitting. She starred in Leaving Las Vegas alongside Nicolas Cage in 1995, and in 1996, she was nominated for Best Actress in a leading role for the film, but sadly lost to Susan Sarandon for the movie, Dead Man Walking. In 2000, she went back to Harvard to finish her bachelor's degree in political science.
I'm gonna go to school now.
The title Karate Kid comes from a character in DC Comics' Legion of Superheroes where a hero named Karate Kid was part of the team. Because DC owned the name, the filmmakers had to obtain special permission to use it, which is why the credits include a thank you to DC Comics. According to William Zabka, his character still provokes strong reactions from some people, even to the point where a few have tried to pick fights with him. He often has to explain that the role was created specifically for the Karate Kid.
Don't take it personally, baby.
Although Ralph Macchio had no experience in karate, he felt his childhood tap dancing lessons helped him train for his part as Daniel LaRusso. He noted the choreography skills for tap could be transferred to karate moves. William Zabka had limited martial arts experience, but he was an accomplished wrestler though he later earned a green belt in Tang Soo Do. His skills in Cobra Kai were largely shaped through stunt work rather than traditional karate instruction. The referee in the final match is Pat E. Johnson, a karate expert and former student of Chuck Norris. He trained numerous actors in martial arts and served as the film's fight instructor and choreographer, designing all of the tournament sequences. Because some of the techniques he taught pushed the actors beyond their usual abilities, he requested to stay close during filming in case adjustments, or even a stop, were needed. To accommodate this, the producers cast him as the referee.
Which in retrospect seems like a pretty good thing.
Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita shared a close friendship in real life that began during the filming of The Karate Kid, 1984, and lasted until Morita's passing in 2005. Macchio often described their connection as soulful magic, viewing Morita as both a mentor and a dear friend. Despite their age difference, their bond was deeply genuine and frequently likened to a father-son relationship off-screen. They stayed in touch over the years, and in 2004, reunited at a Lincoln Center Awards ceremony, sharing a joyful, laughter-filled moment shortly before Morita's death. Reflecting the depth of their relationship, Macchio spoke at Morita's memorial service in 2005, honoring him as my sensei, during his heartfelt eulogy. Pat Morita's portrayal of Mr. Miyagi was deeply influenced by karate master Fumio Demura. Morita spent extensive time with Demura, who also served as his stunt double in fight scenes, drawing from his philosophy, demeanor, and even his speech patterns to shape the character. Despite portraying high school students, much of the cast of The Karate Kid was older than their characters. Ralph Macchio was 22 during filming, while Elizabeth Shue was 20. Rob Garrison and Tony O'Dell were both 23, and Chad McQueen and Ron Thomas were 22. William Zabka was the only actual teenager among the main cast, and the youngest at 18.
No, I'm too young!
The 1984 film The Karate Kid was made with a budget of around $8 million and became a huge box office hit. It earned more than $90 million in the US and surpassed $130 million globally, often cited as exceeding $100 million during its original run and later releases, ranking among the top-grossing movies of 1984. It is also top-ranked as a cult classic. Cobra Kai is a highly praised martial arts comedy drama that continues the story of the Karate Kid films, revisiting the long-standing rivalry between Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence more than 3 decades later, portrayed by Ralph Macchio and William Zabka. The series wrapped up its 6th season, 65-episode run on February 13, 2025, after moving from YouTube Red to Netflix, centering on the revival of karate dojos and the rise of a new generation of students. That's all today, my friends. See you in the next one.